Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. I'm going to put on my market analyst hat today to reveal the fascinating supply chain and industrial economics behind something you probably have sitting in your kitchen pantry right now, the seemingly simple fennel seed. But actually, what you're looking at is a botanical powerhouse that drives a massive, highly complex global trade network. We're going to look way past the spice rack and unpack the hidden value chain of the global fennel economy.
To really grasp the massive scale we're dealing with here, consider this. A staggering 600,000 to 750,000 metric tons of this spice are traded globally every single year. It's wild, and it fuels multiple multi-billion-dollar industries. This isn't just about culinary flavoring, folks. That massive tonnage feeds directly into global food processing, cosmetic manufacturing, liquor distillation, and even the high-stakes pharmaceutical industry.
So our briefing today will track this value chain logically. We'll start with its historical footprint as an ancient commodity, then examine its botanical architecture and risk, dive into phytochemical economics, and finally, analyze international trade dynamics. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the ancient commodity. We'll look at how this botanical product has completely shaped global trade, language across both ancient and modern civilizations. You know, the linguistic evolution of the word fennel brilliantly tracks its historical shift as an ancient trade commodity crossing massive empires. Originating in the Mediterranean basin, the Latin word phanem, which actually means hay, perfectly described the dry, sweet aroma of the plant's delicate foliage. As the spice moved along ancient trade routes, the name morphed into the Old English fennel and then Middle English fennel. But its global reach is really cemented when we look at traditional trade languages today. You've got Saunf in Hindi, Shamar in Arabic, Hinojo in Spanish, and Huishang in Mandarin Chinese. This linguistic footprint proves fennel has been a deeply entrenched high-value commodity for centuries. And honestly, this shared nomenclature still facilitates modern international bulk seed auctions to this day. Moving on to Section 2, Botanical Architecture and Risk. What's absolutely fascinating here is how the specific biology of the fennel plant creates highly sensitive supply chain vulnerabilities. Botanically speaking, what we trade as a seed is actually a schizocarp, and its delicate physical structure dictates exactly how the entire crop must be handled. This member of the Apiaceae family produces these small, oval, elliptical dried fruits containing two curved seeds. Now, those prominent longitudinal ridges you see on a piece of fennel, they aren't just for show. They are vital architectural structures that protect the incredibly valuable volatile oils housed inside. If this structure is damaged during cultivation or transport, poof, the volatile oils escape, and the economic value of the crop literally plummets overnight. From a cultivation standpoint, ensuring supply stability means managing some pretty strict environmental demands, especially mitigating moisture risks during the critical flowering phase. To get premium yields, farmers absolutely need fertile, well-drained loamy soils and full solar exposure, typically in temperate or warm subtropical climates. But here is the major bottleneck for the global market. When the plant produces its vibrant yellow umbrella-shaped flower clusters, known as umbels, it becomes exceptionally sensitive to excessive moisture. Literally, a single unseasonal heavy rain during this flowering stage can devastate the essential oil yield of an entire harvest. This instantly drives up extraction costs and spikes global market pricing. So, to prevent valuable seed shattering and lock in those essential oils, farmers must execute a meticulous, high-stakes harvesting procedure. You can't just run a massive combine harvester through a fennel field and expect premium industrial-grade results. No way. The umbels have to be visually monitored constantly. Right as those seeds transition from bright green to a grayish-green or yellowish-brown hue, they are precisely hand-cut. If you wait even a little too long, natural seed shattering occurs and the crop just drops to the soil, totally lost. After this delicate harvest, the clusters are intentionally shade-dried, never baked in the harsh sun, and then carefully threshed. This precise, labor-intensive post-harvest process is exactly why premium, high-oil fennel commands such incredibly high prices on the global market. All right, Section 3, Phytochemical Economics. Let's zoom in to the microscopic level and see how the plant's chemical matrix directly drives its industrial market cap. Get this, the entire global extraction market hinges on securing premium harvests that boast an essential oil concentration between just 2 and 6%. I know that might sound like a tiny fraction, but that 2 to 6% is a highly sophisticated matrix of volatile oils, dietary fibers, vitamins, and minerals. It is the absolute core of fennel's commercial worth.
Pharmaceutical standards and industrial buyers actually price their acquisitions based entirely on this specific chemical breakdown, carefully balancing the sweet anethole against the bitter fenchone. At the top of the hierarchy, Trans-Anethole makes up 50 to 75% of the oil. It gives Fennel that distinct, sweet licorice anise aroma. And it's highly prized in pharmaceuticals for its powerful estrogenic, anti-inflammatory, and antispasmodic properties. Then you have Fenchone, making up 10 to 20%, which provides a bitter, pungent camphor note and acts as a potent counter-irritant. Finally, estragol adds a sharp, sweet accent and is currently being studied for its synergistic antioxidant properties. Global bulk seed auctions and extraction hubs literally determine quality grades and set their pricing based on maximizing that trans-anethole content. These exact aromatic compounds dictate Fennel's immense value in clinical applications, as well as the massive commercial liquor and cosmetic sectors. Medically, because Fennel compounds relax the smooth muscles of the mammalian intestinal tract, it is globally recognized as an incredible carminative, meaning it mitigates flatulence, abdominal cramps, and even infantile colic. Also, because trans-anethole is structurally similar to dopamine, it acts as a natural galactog, which means it stimulates prolactin secretion to increase milk production in lactating mothers. Plus, the fenchone and anethole content naturally stimulates our respiratory system, helping to liquefy and clear out bronchial mucus. And beyond all those amazing health benefits, that exact same anethole profile is the primary flavor driver for massive international liquor markets, absolutely essential for distilling spirits like absinthe and ouzo. Finally, we arrive at Section 4, International Trade Dynamics. Let's zoom back out to the macroeconomic level and look at who actually dominates the trading floor for this high-value crop. When we look at global production, India's semi-arid agrarian belts are the undisputed titans, commanding over 60% of the global market share. Specifically, the regions of Gujarat and Rajasthan have the absolute perfect weather conditions to optimize that all-important oil accumulation. Getting all this fennel out of these arid regional hubs and onto the global market involves some pretty intense logistics, but India has totally mastered this infrastructure. However, when we contrast the major players, we see a fascinating strategic rivalry. India's massive domestic mass market model going up against Egypt's highly prized organic certified export niche. Unlike a lot of cash crops where everything is shipped overseas, India maintains a colossal domestic consumption of its own supply. It's used everywhere as a universal mouth freshener called makwas, and it is a core culinary component in traditional spice blends like panch phoron. On the flip side, we have Egypt. Egyptian marketers have successfully differentiated themselves from India's mass production by focusing heavily on high purity, exceptionally sweet oil profiles, and securing strict organic certifications. This specialized production model means they can offset their certification costs by targeting premium European markets where consumer demand for organic herbal teas is rapidly growing. Furthermore, buyer behavior splits geographically in a really interesting way. The US and Germany operate as industrial extraction hubs, while the Middle East purchases bulk seeds for direct culinary and herbal tea use. The United States and Germany aren't just importing spice jars for supermarkets. They are major industrial drivers. They process massive amounts of raw fennel seeds specifically to extract those pure essential oils we discussed, feeding their domestic flavor manufacturing, personal care products, and holistic medicinal supplement sectors. Meanwhile, the Middle East acts as a massive aggregate importer, but their demand is driven by cultural tradition. They want premium, bold-grade whole seeds for daily culinary practices and widespread herbal tea consumption. We also can't ignore strategic Mediterranean competitors like Syria and Turkey, who expertly leverage their geography to capture regional supply chains. They might not produce the sheer volume of India, but they are perfectly positioned to capitalize on strategic trade agreements, efficiently servicing both the high-demand Middle Eastern bulk seed markets and those premium Southern European organic sectors. But I want to leave you with this provocative final thought to consider regarding the future of this ancient multi-billion-dollar crop. We've established that the entire value of the fennel schizocarp relies on essential oil accumulation, and that the plant is incredibly vulnerable to excessive moisture when its umbels are flowering. So as global climate volatility increases and unseasonal rains become more common in semi-arid hubs like Gujarat, how will this unpredictable moisture threaten the future viability and pricing of the global fennel supply chain? It's a fascinating vulnerability in a market that has otherwise survived since antiquity. Keep an eye on weather patterns in India and Egypt because, honestly, a little extra rain could shake up the entire global spice and pharmaceutical market. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.